Recently, I've been building a lot of new projects, so I decided it was finally time to tackle something pretty overdue: overhauling. Overhauling my number 11. Hunden. For those who don't know, Hunden was the very first locomotive I ever built myself, back in 2021. Unfortunately, the poor lad has a number of mechanical problems ever since he was built. Back in January, he finally broke down completely. When we brought him into the workshop for inspection, I discovered far more issues than expected. The biggest problem was the reversing block, which was leaking a large amount of steam and severely affecting his power. On top of that, the smoke box had come loose from the boiler. At first, I feared Hunden might need an entire new boiler, an expensive and potentially impractical repair for a locomotive of his type. Because of that, the goal of this overhaul wasn't a full rebuild. Instead, we aimed to give him a light overhaul, bring back to good enough condition to display at this year's Bergen Railway Show, and, if needs be, serve as a backup locomotive. In past years, Hunden has been the locomotive that we steam up on blocks, so people can have a go at either driving him or simply just blowing the whistle. Overhaul began at 5 o'clock in the morning. Hunden was taken from his shed and brought into the workshop, where I began stripping him down to the frames and wheels. Fortunately, this was relatively straightforward, as some components, including the gas burner, had already been removed beforehand. I loosened the screws securing the boiler and cab, and carefully lifted the boiler out. The worn reversing block was then removed and replaced with a new one. Unlike the old one, luckily the new one was properly tight and stiff and operated exactly as it should. The next stage proved far more challenging. The blast pipe and steam pipe had to be refitted, followed by the smoke box, running plate and reversing lever. Aligning everything correctly while feeding the reversing lever through the running plate was a very frustrating task. Once the smoke box was secure, it was time to lower the boiler, tanks and cab back onto the frames. This turned out to be the most difficult part of the entire overhaul. Trying to line up the pipework while fitting the cab really tested my patience. Because the steam pipe kept slipping out of the reversing block, after plenty of trial and error and more than a little swearing, everything finally fell into place. With the main assembly complete, I refitted the buffer beam and prepared him for his first steam test. Like many locomotives fresh out of overhaul, Hunden effectively had to be running again, as though it was a brand new engine. There were still a few teething troubles. His gas valve was noticeably stiffer than usual, and when I tested the whistle, it got stuck open. Despite that, we managed to raise a reasonable amount of steam. I tried moving him in both forwards and reverse, but Hunden struggled badly. In fact, he needed a little helping hand, with me physically turning the wheels to get him moving. Eventually, the wheels began to turn under their own power. He still needs further running in and adjustment before he's fully fit for service. But the most important thing is that he's in one piece. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for the next video.